Let's take a look.
Greetings and welcome to a new Faust guide video. In this one I will be covering reversal supers and the different ways Faust can punish them. I will start with Sol. Sol's super is minus 34 on block and it's double hitting, but there is a gap in between, so you can use invulnerable super to go through the gap. This works really well with bomb and other items that hit OTG. Because it's minus 34, Faust can't thrust punish. A rule of thumb is if a move is minus 30 or plus, you can thrust punish it. The more minus it is, the easier the timing is. So Sol's super is pretty easy to punish with thrust. Thrust has a 26 frame startup, by the way. If you find doing the thrust a little bit too tricky, maybe the timing's too tight for you, you can use a blue RC combo to make it a lot easier. You lose out on potential reward because you can't get the, massive full screen thrust wall break combos, but it's a lot easier to do than just a raw thrust. Kai's invulnerable super is minus 82. It is one of the most punishable supers in the entire game. You can get a charge dust combo every single time he does this. If he has burst, he can burst your charge dust punish quite easily, but you have different options. It's so minus, in fact, you can actually jump over Kai and still get a punish. This allows you to side switch and get a wall break if he puts you in the corner. I will demonstrate a combo, or maybe a couple, I don't know. I can't remember how many combos I recorded punishing this, but this just shows you can jump over it and get meterless wall breaks if he tries to break the wall with it. It's extremely punishable, this super. It's one of the most punishable supers in the game, and you have a lot of different ways you can punish it. Really good for Faust. Faust actually has a lot of counters to this super because Hammer also knocks him out of it, which is really nice. So you can not only punish it on block, you can actually punish it with certain items. I did say it was minus 82, so this super is one of the easiest supers in the entire game to thrust punish. It's really easy to time the perfect thrust. It's actually more difficult to mistime it than it is to actually time it. And because of the way thrust works, if you get it and you have a bar of meter, you can wall break anywhere on screen, which leads to very good reward. You can also burst bait with this by doing the golf swing pot of thrust early. Normally you'll only get a 4S 2H item toss, but considering you didn't waste the meter and you got your opponent's burst, it's still a good reward. If, however, he has burst and you don't want to risk getting burst back into the corner, you can just do a dash up snip. This is completely burst safe, you can't do anything about it. And of course you get a safe jump, and then this is just a way you can punish it if your opponent is in afro state. Again, this is just a really easy to punish super. You have a lot of options at your disposal. Pay attention to whether or not if he has burst, and then just pick your options according to that. Because this super leaves Kai right in front of your face, you do get mixed loops from it. I will say this, when I was labbing this, if I did the 2H too quickly, sometimes mix wouldn't connect, so just keep that in mind. But because it's minus 82, you can delay the 2H for quite a length of time to make the mix more consistent. And now for Mei. Mei's reversal super is minus 21, so you don't get a thrust punish, but there is a gap, so you can, it's 2 hitting and there's a gap, so you can use your invulnerable super to go through the gap, just like you could against Sol. This is a good option if you're expecting the Mei to burst when you hit her with a normal, because you can't burst invulnerable supers, so it's a guaranteed punish that you can't do anything about. Be careful when you use this in the corner though, because Faust's super is notorious for not breaking the wall. Even though they patched this in the big balance patch last year, it still is really inconsistent in the corner, so just keep that in mind. Because this super leaves Mei practically right in front of you, you can also get mixed loops, which is really nice. So although you lose out on thrusts, you do get mixed loops, and for some reason Mei's gravity works differently in mixed loops, so you get better combos against her, which is really nice. You get more damage. Although you don't get a raw thrust, you can do blue RC combos into thrust. You don't get as much reward from these as you would a raw thrust and then RCing it, but This is the only option if you want to go for a thrust combo, unfortunately. If you find doing the close-S jump cancel blue RC a little bit too tricky, or you're not super consistent with it, you can just go for the blue RC out the gate. It's a much easier option, but I think it does a little bit less damage, so pick the one you like. You can do normals into super, like this combo I'm showing right now. It does more damage than the raw super, and it's more consistent at breaking the wall, but you do leave yourself open to being burst. But you are using a close-S, so you can burst bait by jump cancelling it. Once again, because May's super leaves her right in front of you, you do get a command grab. This specific command grab here didn't require me to have to do any kind of like micro dashing, but I would recommend that you do that just in case she's a little bit further away, because you do not want the command grab to whiff. That's a bad outcome. This is just a combo you can do if she's in Afro state when you block the super. When she's in the corner, you can get full meterless wall break combos thanks to 5H 5H. You don't need to use thrust to break the wall, and you don't need to do mix loops, and it does really good damage. Okay, now for an interesting reversal super. Axel's reversal super is -2 on block, so if you don't know how to punish this, it's completely safe, so Axel's will exploit this if you don't know how to punish it. It hits twice, but there's a gap, so you can armor through that gap with your own invulnerable super to get a very good punish. Since Axel has low health, you get a lot of damage for this. The other way you punish this is by jumping over the second hit. If you have meter, you can do blue RC conversions into thrust, which do a lot of damage. If you don't have meter, you can't really get all that much damage from it, unfortunately, since Faust can't really convert too well from his jump-ins. But it's still a good outcome since you are closer to your opponents than what you were before, and you got damage, and Axel basically just wasted a bar of meter on reversal super. So even though it's not really good like the blue RC and super routes, it is still a good option when you don't have meter. Well, it's the option that you should always go for when you don't have meter. You can cross up with the jump blue RC routes when you're in the corner to side switch and get a wall break. These can be a little bit finicky depending on whether or not if you do an air dash after the jump or not. I didn't use an air dash on this combo, so it was not as finicky. But just keep that in mind, depending on if you do air dash and when you do the dash blue RC, you might land on the same side or you might land on the opposite side. Doesn't really matter either way, since both routes lead into thrust conversions, which allow you to get good damage. Okay, now for another interesting super. Potemkin's reversal super is +1, but it's throw punishable. I recommend you do a late snip 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 or throw, because if you do it meaty like you would normally on wake up, it can get hit by the super. Another option I would recommend is just blocking the first hit of super, because if you don't, that happens. The energy barrier will hit multiple times, and this is a problem for Faust since Faust doesn't have a way around it. So if you just block the initial hit, you get rid of the energy barrier. Okay, it's time. It's time for my boy Faust. Faust's super, reversal super, is -32, which means you get thrust punishes. Thrust punishes in general are the highest damaging punishes you can do against reversal supers, although it's not an option against all of them. If you have a bar of meter, you can wall break anywhere on screen. I'll just show some combos to prove that. These combos are my go-to combos against pretty much every character in the game. I find them to be quite consistent, and the only time these combos really drop is if I muck up the inputs. There's some characters these combos are a little bit finicky against, but for the most part they work on everyone. This one I'm showing right now, the perfect thrust, whole screen wall break, is consistent against every single character in the game. I've tested it, it's a really good punish, might even be optimal, I don't know, but it's really good. Because Faust's super is -32, you can do a dash up into snip or his command grab. This is completely burst safe, the opponent can't do anything about this, and it leads into Faust's safe jump. which obviously leads into his low overhead mix, so it's a very good option. Faust can also get a fully charged 5D combo against this, so this is a very good option if you don't have a bar of meter, and it's even better if your opponent doesn't have burst, although you could technically use this option to get rid of your opponent's burst, so that's a good option. Another thing you can do to this reversal super is simply jump over it and punish that way, since the hitbox on this super is really low to the ground. There are some supers in the game that you can do this to, but there's quite a few that you can't. Faust's super is one of them, and you can get conversions like the blue RC one I showed. I don't know why I showed this, just, yeah. You can whiff punish it with thrust, I guess. If you're in the corner, you can jump over it quite easily and get a full wall break conversion without having to spend any meter. That does a lot of damage. Once again, a really good option if your opponent is trying to use this on wake up. This is just another combo you can get after jumping the super. Another way Fausts use their invulnerable super is by PRCing it, usually dash PRC into throw or command grab. Doing this causes the invulnerability frames of the super to continue but for the super to cancel, so you can armor through the move and get a throw or a command grab. You would beat this by doing delayed normals or very active normals like 5H. You can also anticipate this happening and throw yourself or backdash to punish that way. Those are the ways you would punish the PRC route. I haven't shown that in the video, but I just thought I would explain it. I will do a part 2 and part 3 video to this covering the other invulnerable supers. If you need any more information about what I've shown in this video, leave a comment and I will try to help you out. I hope this video helped you out. Thanks for watching.